Now, the United Nations says Rwanda has been helping the rebel group M23 recruit children to fight with M23 soldiers in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. VOA's United Nations correspondent Margaret BESHEER traveled to the DRC with members of the UN Security Council and spoke with me by phone earlier.
Yes, well, when we were in Kinshasa, I was talking to Dee Brillenberg-Worth, who's the head of Child Protection Section for MONUSCO, the stabilization mission in DRC, the UN stabilization mission, and she says they have anecdotal evidence that Rwanda is actively recruiting children for the M23. And it's a serious charge. She said mainly Rwanda is luring the children, Rwandan children, luring them with money and little gifts and, gadgets and clothes and things that children like, and some of them as young as 11, most of them between the ages of 15 and 17, and sending them over to DRC to the M23. Now, some kids end up as combatants and fight, and other kids are sort of like the servants of M23. They carry their things, they cook for them, they work with the leaders, but they're still child soldiers, it's very serious.
This is not only serious, but sounds very twisted, because if this was to be true, on the other side, actually, Rwanda is demobilizing child soldiers in their own ranks and has been doing this for years.
It's so contradictory, because over the past 16 years, Rwanda has demobilized more than about 3,000 child soldiers, and they have a whole system in place to do it. They work with MONUSCO, the mission in Congo, and MONUSCO brings them Rwandan children that have escaped from rebel groups in Congo and helps repatriate them back to Rwanda. And then once they're in Rwanda, they go through sort of this reintegration process where they receive counseling and medical care. They start to get a formal education, reading and writing, and basic skills, job skills, and they reintegrate them back into society. They help them find their relatives if they're still alive, because many kids have been separated from their families from a long time. So on the one hand, Rwanda is doing a good job, but on the other hand, there's this dark cloud, so to speak, hanging over their credibility in terms of this. I had an opportunity to talk with the Rwandan Foreign Minister, Louise Mushikiwabo, briefly, myself and a couple of other reporters, and we asked her about this, and she, vehemently denied that Rwanda recruits children. She said that their track record is very clear. They don't tolerate children being enrolled in any way near armed groups. So she was very adamant that they're not involved in this.
What would be the motivation for Rwanda to recruit its own children into the ranks of a neighboring rebel group?
Well, I think for a lot of for many years, kids were recruited into the Rwandan army itself. Being part of the army was sort of a normal thing, and maybe in the West we don't think it's normal to be recruited into the army when you're 15 or 16, because here you have to be 18. But in Rwanda, it wasn't unusual to be recruited at a young age into the military. And in fact, some of these kids that were sent over to Congo thought they were being recruited into the formal Rwandan military. There are Western countries that accuse Rwanda of meddling in Congo, of supporting the M23. Last week, the United States blocked some military aid to Kigali, saying it was because they're recruiting child soldiers. So there is this question around it, and I guess Rwanda is going to have to prove that they're not doing it.
Well, that was Margaret BESHEER, VOA's UN correspondent, reporting on her trip to Africa.